Well, let's get into it a little bit. I'd love it if you could share Taylor's story and how he inspired the creation of the foundation.
Well, I love to talk about Taylor.
Yeah.
So just getting the invitation to be here, for me to have some time to really spend and focus on Taylor and what we're doing. I tend to get really caught up in our day to day and everything that we have going on that I can easily distract from that. And so thank you for giving me the chance to talk about Taylor. I'll share a little bit about Taylor. That Taylor was the middle child. He was very charming. He was funny, witty. He was a prankster, and he was beautiful in so many ways. I could go on and on and on, and yet he was also very complicated. I would say, I used to tell him he was one of my most challenging children. He challenged me as a mother in so many ways, and yet I'm so grateful for a lot of that because I think I'm a better mother because of him.
Yes.
We lost Taylor when he was 23, and we are coming up on 9 years. And I would say that, I say this often, it feels like yesterday and forever ago all at the same time. And in losing Taylor, I knew right away that I needed to figure out how I carried the legacy of him wanting to give back and also honor him at the same time. And so it was not a very long process for me to decide that we were going to start the Taylor Hagen Memorial Foundation.
Oh, wow. So that wasn't just you responding to the loss of Taylor, but it was really your way of reminding the world of who he was.
Yes, very much
He
so.
was a giver.
Yes. We found a letter from Taylor. Actually, it wasn't really a letter, it was Taylor's bucket list.
Oh.
And among items that said drive nice cars with beautiful women, he also had listed on there, give back. How do I help others? And so I'm really proud that is a part of who he was. And so definitely as a family we knew we were going to do something to honor that part of him.
Wow, that's really special. That's really sweet. I find it impressive that you did take Taylor's legacy, what he was known for, and morphed it into action on this cause, because it's also easy to just suffer the loss, go through the grieving, and in some ways it's hard to bounce back from that and really put yourself out there, especially to talk about a subject that's challenging.
Oh yeah.
Has it been difficult for you to go through that?
It was interesting because I remember when we started to start the movement of what we were doing, and I reached out to a lot of people that were already in that space with their own nonprofits and work that they were doing, and for them they had seen so many people, mothers, parents, that after losing a child, it's the first thing you want to do to this loss. You want to figure out how you prevent others and you bring awareness around it. And so there was, a lot of people that didn't really think this would last, that this energy that we had around it was going to probably be short-lived, and that was okay. At the time, I did not know what the foundation would look like initially. Right away, we started raising money. When we wrote the obituary, I told my daughter who wrote the obituary, we need to make sure that we are not holding this information back. So I want it to be apparent how your brother passed, because we need to be, I don't want people asking me, how did he die? And then me consistently having to give that answer. So I wanted it to be out there. And so we raised money, and the goal was to raise $16,000 because Taylor's hockey number was 16. And so,
cute.
So we did raise that money, and I was so passionate about putting that money in a place that was going to directly impact our community. And I knew we needed to open up a nonprofit to be able to hold that money, but at the same time, I was ready to write a check, and the place that I was sending that check to was American Foundation of Suicide Prevention.
Yep, love it.
And I love their work. I love the people that are doing it, and I'm such a big supporter of it.
Yes.
What I didn't know when I delivered that check, in my excitement, I thought, we are doing it. we are making an impact. And we did. But I received a letter a few weeks later that told me, and this might not be received well, but I do mean it, I do say it with, understanding and respect for the people that are in the nonprofits that are doing the hard work and that are receiving, that are salaries for it.
Yes.
So I didn't know my check was going to go towards salaries. And so when I received that letter, I was a little disheartened because I really wanted it to impact somebody's life that was here in our community. And so that's when I was really pushed forward to figure out how we were going to do something where the money would stay right here in Utah and it would directly impact the lives that are here, that are struggling, that are suffering, and that are grieving. And so that's where we moved forward with the nonprofit. And each program came to fruition at different phases of what we, how we had started. We have our Hope Basket program where people that, if you lose someone, it does not have to be suicide. Any loss, any child loss, you reach out to us and we will send a Hope Basket, which helps provide resources to families not knowing what to do when that happens to them.
Wow. Yes.
And that came from a place of us experiencing that, having 5 children that were also, that had lost their brother, and me not knowing, how do I help my children? Mm-hmm. And so we did that program, and the bereaved mother retreats, came into play. And, as the 8 years have gone through, we have, I know you want to talk on some of these, the bereaved mother retreats, the Hope Basket. Our youth program is super powerful for me because looking back at Taylor's life, if I go back in time, I can pinpoint around 13 when things started. And so my goal is, how do we touch our youth to help prevent them at 23, 24, 25
yes,
of making this type of decision?
Yeah. These are huge life decisions, and you want your child to have the ability to understand their emotions, understand how their brain works, and know how to process the difficult things they're going to come across in life. It's just a fact of life.
It's the coping skills.
The coping skills, you're right. And we all know that kids that age are a little bit impulsive. They may not think everything through. And it's heartbreaking if you think of a child who makes a permanent decision on an impulsive thought.
I'll never forget those first few weeks when you say that, a permanent decision, because I felt like I spent a lot of time fixing challenges that my children were coming to me with, or problems that they were experiencing. And I remember those first few weeks in so much pain, thinking, Bud, I can't fix this. This choice, there is no fix to this. When you left me in a place where there is nothing I can do to fix it. And that was such a hopeless feeling as a mother.
Oh, my gosh. Since you mentioned that, it just triggers a thought for me that I've thought of so many times, that when somebody chooses to leave this life through suicide, we know that they're going through a tremendous amount of pain. Obviously, they're feeling grief, they're feeling all of these emotions. And I think it's easy for them to imagine that if they are not living anymore, that grief, that pain goes away. But I'm a strong believer that it doesn't go away. It really just gets transferred.
Right.
And it gets transferred to the ones who love you and care for you. And I don't even know if it's the same unit of grief. I kind of feel like it gets magnified.
Right.
And so that everybody gets an equal share of that pain.
Suicide is considered one of the most complicated griefs that for the people left behind. And it's unfortunate that we don't have a true understanding, and those of us that don't know that pain will never really understand what our loved ones were going through at that time. And I think some of the misconceptions is that it was a selfish act.
Right.
And it is not a selfish act. And I think
Agreed.
when we state that, we take away the ability, we have to work on changing that narrative, because it impacts the people that are still struggling, feeling that they have the ability to share that they are not okay.
Totally right. And I'm sure that you would rather have 1,000 difficult conversations with your son than to see him pass.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I hear someone say that that was a selfish act, it just tears me apart, because I don't think at any point in time that Taylor was trying to hurt someone else. I think that the pain, they want the pain to stop, and that pain is so terrible. It's like a heart attack that takes over the body. Mental illness takes over the mind.
Ooh.
And they don't have the bandwidth, the wherewithal, the space to be able to shift it easily. And so we really have to be careful with those stories that we're saying regarding that.
Absolutely right. It's easy to feel a little bit bitter when you lose somebody that way, but when you really look at it, you know they're not trying to hurt you. It's the last thing they'd want to do. Actually, I think in some cases they feel like they're making things better for
Correct.
you.
Yeah.
But same with Tara. I know that wasn't a selfish decision. It wasn't meant to hurt anybody.
She was in such a depth of pain,
right,
that she didn't know any other way.
Yeah, totally right.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking.
It
and
is.
And if you can have compassion for that, again, we open up the space for others to be able to share with us, so that we can help them navigate that.
Totally right. That if somebody is feeling that way, I would want them to feel like they could talk to me, that they can share their deepest, darkest feelings and not get any judgment
Right.
or scorn from me for doing so.
Well, I remember I was angry for a long time.
Yeah.
I was one of the only mothers that I was connected with that expressed they were mad.
Stages of grief.
And
right?
Every other mother said, I don't have any anger towards them. And I would look at them thinking, I am the worst mother in the world.
How could I be
so
mad
at him for what has been left behind. And I had a good friend who's actually in the industry. We went out for coffee, and he has struggled his whole life with mental health, married with children, has all the things, and he opened up my eyes. I was so grateful that he took the time to sit me down and say, Cristie, this is what it looks like. This is what happens when you are in the depth of that. You have no awareness about anything around you because your mind is not allowing it.
No.
Your mind is telling you stories that you couldn't imagine. And as much as I love my wife and my children, there are days that the narrowness that happens takes me out of that. And I had no idea.
Wow. That's really insightful.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. My heart goes out to anybody who struggles and feels that their life isn't worthwhile. I'd want them to know that they can choose to leave. We have to respect their individual wishes, but the world will never be the same if they do.
No, and I say this in my speech at the gala. If I had another chance with Taylor, I would say the brutal, honest stuff, and it would be, your siblings will never be the same.
Yeah.
They will spend the rest of their lives wondering what they could have done different. Your parents are never going to be the same, and we will forever be changed by this. And we will always question, what could we have done differently? And we will live with regret, remorse, guilt. Although they say, you hear, it wasn't you. You did everything you could. You only could go off of the information that you had, and that is true. But it is also real that we will always feel that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we have to be careful with that communication too, because I think it's more important that we hear them and we are able to validate them.
Yes.
There are the responses, but you have a good life. The responses of, but you have a family that loves you. Suicide and mental health does not discriminate.
No.
It affects all of us. And if we can come from a space, to your point, of non-judgment, and also a space of holding so much love for where they're at, and hearing them, then we can make a difference.
Yes. To your point, when somebody's struggling, they don't need to hear so much about how it would impact us if they left. What they need to hear about is how much we care about them, and how they currently feel.
Yes.
We want them to know that what they're feeling is valid, that their concerns are worth hearing, that we care about all of the emotions that they're going through, and also that we can see a light on the end of the tunnel, even if they can't
Right.
now.
Right. And it's important to help them with that. It's the listening, it's the talking, but it's also the doing, and inviting them to get out of that space by going, whether it's out in nature or doing something that they love, and finding a way to get them back to there, instead of saying you should go on a walk or you should want to run. How
Yeah.
about let's go on a walk?
Yeah.
Let's go on a whatever that is.
Yes. So that you're taking them to a different space, but not leaving them alone to deal with it themselves.
Right.
I love that. Maybe let's shift back to your programs a little bit.
Okay.
And thank you so much for sharing all that you did there. Lots of wisdom and what you had to say, and lots of learning from life